Well, what are some ways that we might fear death, or someone might fear death? Maybe we fear the suddenness and unknown date and time of our death. Or we fear how we're going to die. It could be we're hit by a bus, we get in a car crash, a sudden illness comes upon us. Maybe we're in old age and that night could be any night. We don't know which night or day that is or when it will come. What is the remedy? Hebrews 9:27 through 28 says, "And just as it is appointed for man to die once, and after that comes judgment, so Christ, having been offered once to bear the sins of many, will appear a second time, not to deal with sin, but to save those who are eagerly waiting for him." It is not to be afraid of when we will die or how we will die. Christ, God, has appointed a day for all of us, and it is the perfect day. Seminary professor Stephen Lawson, talking about this of his dad's death, said, "This was my dad's wedding day. It was the appointed time." With a tear in his eye, he said, "It's the best day, the right day. There's no better day. There's no better time if you are in Christ." It was eternally appointed. A believer's dying day is better than his birthday, the Puritan Thomas Brooks said. A believer's last day is his best day, he said. Why is that? Because you enter into the gates of paradise. It surpasses our birthday, our graduation day, our wedding day, the birth of our child, or any other special day. Secondly, we may fear loss and death. We fear the loss of loved ones. We fear losing our jobs, our hobbies, our pursuits, our ambitions, our purpose in this life. We fear an incompleteness and failure. All of these things we wanted to do and accomplish that we didn't achieve. A door shut and never to be opened again. Well, concerning the loss of loved ones, 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verses 13 through 14 says that there will be a day when all will be resurrected, and those who have gone before us and have died, and those who are alive will meet in the air together. You don't have to fear the loss of a believing loved one. You'll be reunited. We're all going to the same eternal city. We'll all be in the same city. Maybe we'll be sitting in the same pews, looking at the glory of God forever, together. We don't have to fear that loss, and we'll have special relationships. The greatest relationship we'll have is one with God that is perfected. We'll be in eternal bliss day after day, and it'll get better day after day. C.S. Lewis writes in The Last Battle, the last book of the Narnia series, about how the children were afraid to go back to England when they were brought to Narnia. And in the presence of the great lion, Aslan, the Christ figure of the books, they didn't want to go back. He writes this: "There was a real railway accident," said Aslan softly. "Your father and mother and all of you are, as you used to call it in the Shadowlands, dead. The term is over. The holidays have begun. The dream is ended. This is the morning." And as he spoke, he no longer looked to them like a lion. But the things that began to happen after that were so great and beautiful that I cannot write them. And for us, this is the end of all the stories. And we can most truly say that they all lived happily ever after. But for them, it was only the beginning of the real story. All their life in this world and all their adventures in Narnia had only been the cover and the title page. Now at last they were beginning chapter 1 of the great story, which no one on earth has read, which goes on forever, in which every chapter is better than the one before. Each day in heaven will be better than the one before. Each chapter in heaven will be better than the one before. We don't have to fear loss. We don't have to fear incompleteness. We don't have to fear failures. We'll be perfected. We will know God. We'll be filled with the eternal prosperity of Christ in our hearts.